All right, my goal here is to understand the timeline of events that take place during the Great Tribulation hour, which is only 3.5 years. In that 3.5 years, before the resurrection rapture, the trumpets are going to blow. And up to seal 5 must be complete before the end of the Great Tribulation period. So, we're only going to be concerned with the last 3.5 years before Christ pours out the wrath. So here's Jesus over here in the end times. So we're going to be concerned with after the cross. After the cross we have the church age. The church age goes on until the Great Tribulation. So we're only going to draw this little portion here until the Great Tribulation. And we're going to be concerned about the last 3.5 years, right? Before God comes back, before the resurrection rapture takes place. And then God pours out the wrath for 75 days. That's 75 days of wrath. Alright, so 3.5 years. Disproportionate here. What we have is the trumpets have to blow in this time period. Alright, so let's do this. So this is the 3.5 year time period before the resurrection rapture event takes place. Sometime during this time period, the trumpets are going to blow, and the 5th seal, which is the persecution and the killing of the saints, must take place. Now we know that there's a war and the 6th trumpet. And the 7th trumpet, is the resurrection rapture. If you study the 7th trumpet, you'll notice there's nothing major that happens, just earthquakes, voices, lightnings, and thunder, and then the resurrection. It's the big 6th trumpet where we have a war. There's some kind of war that kills 1/3 of mankind. The 5th trumpet lasts for 5 months. That we know because the Bible tells us it lasts for 5 months. So that's our biggest clue to understanding the unfolding of the trumpets. Now this is all during, don't forget, this is all during the Great Tribulation period. Tribulation period. This is the only section we're talking about, and how the trumpets unfold during this time period. Now we see that there's different ways it can play out, and we're talking about the different ways the trumpets can blow during this 3.5 year time period. We're going to look at some different possibilities. One possibility is that the tribulation starts off, the Great Tribulation starts off relatively I don't want to say easy, because it's going to be hard for the Christians. They're being persecuted. The mark of the beast is going to be taking place during this time. The mark of the beast is going to be taking place during this 3.5 year time period. Will it start at the beginning? Will it start at the end? Or is it already being implemented slowly but surely, and the Antichrist is only going to continue for 42 months what is already taking place? I happen to believe that part. So during this 3.5 year time period, we know that the greatest persecution the world has ever seen will take place. That's the 5th seal. So what we're seeing here so far is that during the Great Tribulation hour, the 5th seal, which is the persecution of believers, will take place. That means also during this time period the trumpets will blow, which means that the trumpets will blow during the seals, the first 4 seals, but the 5th seal in particular. We're concerned about the 5th seal. The seals 1 to 4 is really the drawing up and building up effect of this very moment here. There's a debate on whether the seals begin to open right here at the beginning of the 3.5 years. Is that when the seals start to open, or they begin to, or they finished opening right here? And I happen to believe that these first 4 seals, the first 4 seals are finished opening right here. That means the world leader is in control. You can't have the seals beginning to open in the last 3.5 years, because the Antichrist is given full power for 42 months. This is 42 months. 3.5 years is the same as 42 months. The Antichrist will push his mark for 42 months. So the first 4 seals are building up, and they'll be completely in place by the time the Antichrist takes power for 42 months. Sometime during that 42 months, the fifth seal will open, because the first four are already in place. The fifth seal, which is the persecution of all the Christians and all the saints. Many people don't understand this, but the sixth seal is the wrath of God. This is the wrath. Alright? That's the sixth seal. Alright? And a lot of people ask, well, what about the seventh seal? If you don't understand how the book of Revelation repeats the same story, you're not going to understand the difference between the first six seals and the seventh seal. It's very important that you study that closer and understand that the sixth seal is the end. The seventh seal is a repeating of the same story that takes place in the first six seals. Now, I don't want to get into that right now, because what we're talking about is the fifth seal up to the fifth seal. After the fifth seal is complete, we have the resurrection rapture event. Sometime before the fifth seal is complete, the seven trumpets will blow. The seventh trumpet is the resurrection rapture event. The bowls of wrath, the vials of wrath, are poured out over here during the wrath after we go up. Coming back down after the wrath to set up the kingdom is Armageddon. God comes back down at the end of this wrath in the sixth vial, and he conquers the armies on the earth after the bowls of wrath are poured out. Okay, so here's where we're at. We're trying to figure out the relationship between the trumpets and the 3.5-year period, and the trumpets and the seals. How does it all merge? How does it all synchronize? How does it all fit together? And we're going to be making videos about this as we learn more and more about it, because right now this is just a short introductory video, because I'm still learning and we're still pondering the different ways these trumpets, now I've only talked about these three, but there's four other trumpets. The fourth, 1 through 4, this is the seals, and it can be complicated, because these are the seals, but then there's trumpets too. We've only talked about 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7. Well, what about trumpets 1 to 4? What about 1 to 4 trumpets? So that's all coming up. I want to talk about, when do these trumpets blow during the 3.5-year time period? When do these trumpets blow during the 3.5-year time period? And we know for sure that trumpet 5, right here, trumpet 5, is 5 months long inside the 3.5-year time period. We also know that the sixth trumpet is a nuclear war, or war between man and man, that takes place after the 5 months or during the 5 months, and it kills 1/3 of mankind. We also know the seventh trumpet is not a time factor. It's just a resurrection rapture event. Some earthquakes, lightnings, voices, and a thunder. How long does that take? And 5 minutes? When this is done, when this war is complete, then it's the resurrection rapture at that trumpet, at the seventh trumpet. My question is, when do these first 4 trumpets blow? And how long do they last? And these first 4 trumpets look like one event. It looks like some kind of volcano or some kind of meteor falling from the solid dome. Something happens suddenly and instantaneously to block out the sun, to kill 1/3 and burn the grass. It's something, natural disaster, I believe. But when does it happen? Does it happen over here in the beginning when the Antichrist takes over? Is that what causes the mark to really come into play globally? Or does it happen more like over here and right at the end of all this time? The mark of the beast is still going to be pushed over here. The mark of the beast is still going to be pushed over here. But when do the trumpets blow? I don't know how all that works. So I'm just making these videos to help you understand, help me understand, and to stay focused on the reality of this. If some of this is new, keep it on the back burner, pray about it, go read the scriptures yourself. I know this is counterintuitive to what we've been taught our whole lives about the resurrection rapture event and when all that takes place. And you know, this is really the closest to the biblical scriptures that I have seen. And by the grace of God, hopefully we will learn more. So guys, this is not all. This is just an introductory beginning meditation of where we're studying on Sundays in the book of Revelation as we read every chapter. So come join us on the weekends in our Bible study. On Sunday, go to my website and join us in our live streaming on the weekends. And guys, thank you for your donations. You help make all this possible by your grace and your generosity and by the grace of God. I love you. Peace.